Hey everyone, welcome back to this AI-3026 Developing AI Agents in Azure course, where this specific module covers how to integrate custom tools into your agent. My name is Peter Detender. I'm a Microsoft technical trainer here at Microsoft for almost 6 years now. My Azure background has always been architecture and DevOps, but I gradually shifted more to app modernization and, no surprise, AI and Copilot solutions for about 18 months. This module is one of the 5 modules in the course. You can choose to go through all modules or only a few, depending on your needed skills and where you are already in your developing AI agents journey. This specific module builds on the concepts from the developing AI agent that we discussed before, but this time we're zooming in on the tooling integration. Shall we have a look? Azure AI Agent Service offers a seamless way to build your AI agent without needing extensive AI or machine learning expertise. By using tools, you can provide your agent with functionality to execute actions on your behalf. The AI Agent Service provides built-in tools for gathering knowledge and generating code, which provide your agent with some pretty powerful functionality. However, sometimes your agent needs to be able to complete specific tasks or maybe taking actions that an AI model would struggle with to handle on its own. To accomplish these actions, you can provide your agent with a custom tool based on your own code or integrating third-party service using API. Custom tools in Azure AI Services can significantly enhance productivity by automating repetitive tasks and streamlining workflows that are specific to your use case. These tools improve accuracy by providing precise and consistent output, reducing the likelihood of human error. Additionally, custom tools offer tailored solutions that address specific business needs, enabling any organization to really optimize the processes and achieve better outcomes. Adding tools makes custom functionality available for the agent to use, depending on how it decides to respond to that user prompt. The diagram shows the process of an agent choosing to use a custom tool. It starts with a user asking an agent about the weather conditions in a ski resort. The agent determines that it has access to a tool that can use an API to get weather information and just calls it. The tool returns the weather report and the agent informs the user. Azure AI Agent Service offers various custom tools that enhance the capabilities and efficiency of your AI agents. These tools allow for scalable interoperability without various applications, making it easier to integrate with existing infrastructure or web services. Azure AI Services provides several custom tool options, including Open API specified tools, Azure Functions, or function calling. These tools enable seamless integration with external APIs, for instance, event-driven applications, or overall custom functions. The first example here is what we call function calling. Function calling allows agents to execute predefined functions dynamically based on user input. This feature is ideal for scenarios where agents need to perform specific tasks, such as retrieving data or processing user queries, and can be done in code from within the agent. Your function may call out to other APIs to get additional information or initiate a program. Another example here are Azure Functions. Azure Functions provide serverless computing capabilities for real-time processing. This integration is ideal for event-driven workflows, enabling agents to respond to triggers such as HTTP requests or a queue message. And then last, we have Open API specification. Open API-defined tools allow agents to interact with external APIs using standardized specifications. This approach really simplifies API integration and ensures compatibility with various services. Azure AI Agent Service uses OpenAPI 3.0 specified tools. Now, with all that out of the way, it means back to demo time. Now it's your opportunity to build an agent using custom tools. In this specific demo, you create an agent in code and connect the tool definition to a custom tool function. By the way, if you don't have an Azure subscription and you want to explore Azure AI Foundry, you can sign up for a free Azure account using azure.microsoft.com/free, which includes Azure AI Foundry credits for the first 30 days. I would say let's get this demo going. So I'm back in my Cloud Shell here. We had all default configurations done on our AI project side, which means that now we can dive back into some code. Now, if you did not go through the previous module where I did a similar demo using Cloud Shell, you might think like, wait a minute, we're developers, we're never going to run this from within Cloud Shell. I think I have to agree with that. On the other side, I just wanted to make sure that I can walk you through this demo, assuming that you might follow along using this as your own little exercise, where you can clone our exercise Git repo. If you're following along on the Learn platform, at least, you're going to run a Git clone, moving it into Cloud Shell, but technically you don't have to use Cloud Shell. Actually, I'm going to switch back to my VS Code environment in a minute, where I'm going to use that interface to show you a little bit more insights on the actual code snippets. So the reason why I'm using Cloud Shell here and using PowerShell is because it's the easiest way to run demos without impacting your local development environment. But again, if you are familiar with VS Code Visual Studio, if you already have the Python language packages installed on your local machine, again, you can run all this outside of Cloud Shell. So I'm inside the third module, which means that up here, I'm going to use the third little folder in our demo files. Now, first step here is from within our Cloud Shell, we're going to install the libraries that we need for our little application. So we start with running Python -m, creating a new virtual environment for the lab. We're going to move into that environment, running activate PowerShell script, and then running pip install to really install the Python packages for our environment, the Azure identity allowing me to authenticate, and then last, the Azure AI projects to recognize like we're working with Azure AI in the backend. That's all done fine. We're now next, and this is still pretty cool to me, we're going to run Visual Studio Code from within Cloud Shell. And that's going to look a little bit like this. Now, what we need from here is copy pasting, I would say, our project connection string. So I'm going to move into the environment. And as you can see here, there's a placeholder for project connection string. So before diving into the actual code that we need to build and develop our agent, we need to identify what project we're going to use inside Azure AI Foundry and what model deployment we're going to use. Now, this is just a demo. I assume that if you're following along, it could be considered a testing exercise. What I mean by that is that up here, when it asks you for the project connection string, you're working with secrets. So in a full production environment, this should not be hard-coded in your code snippets. Preferably even, I would say, move it out into Key Vault, our secret store in the Azure platform. But since this is just a demo, I think it's okay to go into our AI Foundry project and grab the project connection string. Why am I emphasizing this? Because every now and then, you might mistake and grab the API key, or you might grab the URL. But what we need is a combination of all that out of that connection string up here. So I'm going to grab it for now. I'm going to move back into my code. and I'm going to paste it in. And then I also need to update my model name, where in my case, I made it a little bit easy and I just called it GPT-4o. Make sure you save the changes, Control S, and then from there, we can shift to our actual code snippets. Now, I don't like explaining code from within Cloud Shell, although technically I could, but then I need to copy paste our little snippets that we have. So what I'm going to do is switching to my Visual Studio Code and using that for a minute to explain the code snippets, and then switching back to our Cloud Shell and running the code. So inside our little new agent we're building here, we basically need to add some information like literally writing code, where we're using a user function Python script. There's only two little pieces of code that I need here, so I'm going to show both of them here on screen. The first part is create a little function. What we're doing here is defining, I would say, the characteristics of what our application is about. It's generating a ticket number, it's saving it as a support ticket inside some text file. And then from there, we also have the second part here, defining the callable functions, as interesting enough we call it. That's the user functions where we're going to submit our support ticket. I'm not going to read out each and every line in these snippets, but in short, again, between line 7, line 16, that's where we're going to create a text file inside the current file of the app. We're going to generate a unique ticket number. It's going to generate a unique file name, the file path, and then adding some information in text, which means a ticket number, like an incident number in your service desk application, you could say. And then it's going to ask me for my email address. If I'm missing any of those, it will tell me and asking for it. And that's where that generative AI comes in as a nice help instrument. And then out of that callable function, again, that's just the actual function that we're going to use, where it's going to submit the support ticket. So I'm going to make it easy for myself. I'm going to grab this code and I'm going to paste this in my user function in my Cloud Shell. And then last, I'm going to save my changes, Control S, and then I can actually leave my VS Code from here. And you can do that using Control Q. Only thing left for me to do here is running my application. Oh, one step too fast, Peter. We need to actually update our actual agent. Now you already know how this works. Let's do my code again, where, as you can see here, we got a few placeholders for our actual agent. So I need to go back to my VS Code on my local machine, and again, walking you through some of the snippet of code explanations. It's so tempting as a developer to write some snippets of code and then quickly seeing it in action, but it will not work if I don't have all my building blocks in place, right? So let's spend about a minute here to walk you through some of the core building blocks, like the snippets of code, if you want, that we need to really make our AI agent working. The first object that we need to inject is what you find over here. So what I'm doing is adding the necessary classes or importing the classes that I need to build my Azure AI agent. And that's going to use the from identity from Azure AI projects and adding the from Azure AI projects models. I'm creating a few methods, a few classes here. Default Azure credential, like knowing that my agent is going to use this to read out that connection string. I'm creating an AI project client, and then I'm going to import a function tool interacting with a tool set. A little bit further down, we have the snippet of code that we need to actually connect to the Azure AI Foundry project. So we're going to create our project client, and then using the connection string, using the default Azure credential. Again, already walked you through this. If you're following in the sequence of the different modules, you already know what this is about. Next to that, scrolling down here a little bit, we're going to define the actual characteristics of what our agent is about. we define the functions, which means here we're going to call the function tool. We're going to add a function that we create. Our incident ticket here would be the function. And then from there, we're going to tell the agent what it needs to do. You can use GPT-4 as the model. We're going to give you a name and we provide you with instructions. Again, the instructions can be pretty much anything, right? But in our scenario here, we're using it to ask for an email address, asking for a description of the technical issue we have. And from there, it's going to hand over those values to submit that support ticket. We're almost done, but then eventually we also need to prompt or send the prompt to our agent. That's what we're doing down here, where it's going to build up the message, where it's using that thread ID to keep that conversation going. We define the role like it's the end user starting, you could say, the chat conversation. And then we're going to create the user prompt as the content. From there, the run trigger action is use the project client, connect to the agent, and then execute creation and process run, where it's using the specific thread and communicating with the specific agent. We got some error trapping if you want. That's what I'm doing here. Check the run status. If something goes wrong, please let me know. And then eventually we also have some cleanup all the way at the end. What I'm doing here is like cleaning the cache, you could say, removing the thread if something would no longer be required. I think that's pretty much all we need. So in short, just making sure you got a pretty good idea what we're doing. We added our set of custom functions to the toolset, creating an agent that uses the toolset, running a thread with a prompt message, checking the status if there's any failure, retrieving the message from the completed thread, displaying the conversation history, and then eventually deleting the agent and closing the thread because we no longer need it. I'm going to grab all this code and moving it into the agent piece in Cloud Shell, Control S to save, Control Q to close, and from here we just need to run it. I can fire off Python and then pointing towards my agent, and this should launch our incident management AI agent. So this could be seen as like a customer service representation, right? Where now I'm chatting with support agent, assistant something unique, and it's asking me like, hey, how can I help you? Like enter a prompt. My prompt can be super complex, can be quite easy. Knowing it's a service desk-alike scenario, I'm going to tell like, well, good day. I always try to be friendly to AI. I have a technical problem. This is triggering the agent to now respond, where if you think back about the code, it's asking me like, oh, hey, good day. So you see, being nice to AI is actually coming back at you. Could you provide with an email address and a description? I could use my email, peter@peter.com, and my description is, I have no idea. My computer is slow. I think that's an issue that we all could recognize. From here, just showing you a bit how that error trapping actually works. It tells me like, oops, there's a little problem here. But remember, we also had our support agent history. So what it tells me, and that's actually pretty cool, it's also why I wanted to show you, it's like apologizing. Unfortunately, I couldn't submit your support ticket because, interesting enough, there is a technical problem on the side of the agent. I just love this demo scenario so much. I recommend contacting support team directly or let me know if there's another way to assist you. So from here, I could actually continue and I could do like, hello again. I still need support. So it tells me like, whoops, I apologize for the earlier inconvenience. Could you provide me the email and describing the problem? I could again continue from here, but I think it's becoming pretty clear how we can use it. Eventually, obviously, I would say in a normal scenario, but that's kind of what you would expect from this agent. Like, I'm going to fire off my problem description. It's going to create a text message. And then obviously I could use this in like a full flow, sending it as an email, but then highlighting this time that it's not just running like an active agent communication, but also capturing any failures. And then from there, actually apologizing. And then from there, also remembering that we already had a conversation before. So I think that's pretty much all we need from here. Remember, if you're following along, make sure you clean up your resources. With that, I'm going to close out my demo and switching back to the presentation for the last couple of words. Awesome. In this module, we covered the benefits of integrating custom tools into Azure AI Agent Service to really boost productivity and provide tailored business solutions. By providing custom tools to the agent, we can optimize processes to meet specific needs, resulting in better response from your agent. The techniques learned in this module enable businesses to generate marketing material, improve communications, and analyze market trends more effectively, all through using custom tools. The integration of various tool options in the AI Agent Service, from Azure Functions to OpenAPI specifications, allows for the creation of intelligent, event-driven applications that use well-established patterns already used in many businesses. Thank you once more for being here with me. Our journey of developing AI agents is still not finished yet, as we have a few more mountains to climb. Allow me to invite you to our next module, where I'll detail developing an AI agent using Symantec Kernel SDK. Looking forward to see you again soon.